liabilities is your loan. So what will happen in your balance sheet will actually have under liabilities a loan from, you know, Sue and Gary or whoever, you know, is given the loan and the loan amount. So that is all there nice and recorded, and then that little line in there will actually correspond to a loan agreement that you would have. And as I said, it just needs to be a one-page loan agreement. Yeah. Using personal credit cards. Now, sometimes people will come to me after they've set up a business and I'll go, too late, you know. This is a way, and I know it's 20% interest and all of that, but if you need the money and you know you've done all your pre-work and you've set your foundations, this is a way that you can, you know, pay for supplies and stuff like that using your personal credit card. I will give you a little hint though with your does this work? Did that battery run out? No, just I'll get you to fix that. But you have 2 credit cards. So what I would do is I would have one that you use just purely for personal and one that you use purely for business. So when I first started out, you know, quite often I might have 2 credit cards. Just go, you know what, I'm going to just use that one for personal and that one for business.
Why?
One, just easy recording. So when you do go to your accountant and with all your bank statements, you don't have to go, oh, that was personal, that was business, that was all of that.
I do that with my
Sorry, I went too quick.
everything though. I have already written on the receipts personal or business. Is that or you
That's
still
fine.
prefer both?
That's fine, but if you've
Is
got
it just for recording purposes, nothing for anything else?
No.
I
and
pretty
you know,
much use
the
it.
other thing too is if you've got
Nice
annual
easy
fees
statement.
and stuff like that on your card, claim it. If it's all purely for business, then you can claim that annual fee or your rewards fees, those sort of things. I'm just going to top up on this. So really it's just, and the other thing too is that you can set up auto pay. Oh, and the reward points, obviously if you've got your reward points and you want to use the whole reward point thing, I'm not a big fan of reward points, but some people are. And you can set up which banks often don't tell you about, is auto pay. Is everyone familiar with auto pay?
Yeah.
So it just means what happens with auto pay is that at the end of the month, whatever's owing on that credit card automatically gets swiped from, say, your business account or from, if you've set this up, from your line of credit. So that way you're not paying any interest on that credit card.
So when you say your auto pay thing, because I know a couple of times I've been stung for late payment even though I pay it every bloody month, but I might have missed by 2 days or something, and there's a $9 fee for late payment, you know. So if you do auto pay, do you just set an amount, like $1,500 is my auto pay for every month?
Yeah.
At
There's
that
3
date?
different options with auto pay.
Yep.
There's a percentage, so you can pay like 3%, which is usually the minimum
Okay.
payment.
Yep.
You can set a fixed amount, so 1,500
Yeah.
or whatever you want, or the closing balance. So the closing balance would mean you never pay interest on it.
So that's what we have is an auto pay, and it just pays off the whole card
Because we buy
at the end of
everything
the month.
on our credit card because it's got points, because our family's interstate and we always go in and pay it, but I didn't know you could set it up so it
The banks
automatically
never tell
does
you
it.
this. Go onto their websites under the credit card and you'll see their auto pay, and they all have it, and it just means that they never get
interest.
And you also got to make sure you got
And
the
then
money in
they
the
can
bank.
charge
Well,
you
we do,
extra.
you know, that's that's
But that
awesome.
might be
So
that.
that's what you do.
And it's
So
just
we
done.
never, so it's just you're using the money and then you just pay it in the
The
month.
other beauty that I don't mind when you are in control with your credit card is that you actually get that statement every month, and it actually does not charge for 2 weeks. So you know that you need to have, if you do closing balance, you need to have that, whatever's in the closing balance, it's going to come out in 2 weeks' time. And my other reason why I don't mind having a credit card is it gives us, because it gives us that monthly statement, you need to check it off.
Tick it off.
And it's really good then to go, all right, let me get my business cash flow out and go, yep, that's all in line. Okay.
I always find you can find receipts
It's
too.
going to be my little
Because I follow the
handy.
receipts and then file them away. And then
Yeah.
somebody says, you know, kettle breaks, you go, oh, what that, summertime. So you go back and then in February is the receipt. Otherwise, by cash it's right over, throw everything out.
Yeah.
That's good.
I'm going to talk to you a bit about family and friends. So, oops, you're going too fast. Alright, so obviously it's usually the cheapest form of finance. Sometimes you have a family member who'll go, thank you very much, you know, we'll give you, we encourage you to go out and we love you and all of that.
And then you don't be a friend anymore.
It's I would encourage you, if you do this particular option, is that you set up a loan agreement between you. So that way you go, well, all right, well, you know, sometimes if it's, you know, a family member who's taking money out of their equity loan because you don't have an equity loan or anything like that, you go, well, you know, I'll pay you, you know, 7%, you know, plus I'll give you a slab every quarter or whatever it might be, you know. So do set up and do abide by the terms, because if you don't, it can cause issues that you just want to avoid. Or the other thing is that you could consider them as an equity partner, which to me, I'd rather go with, can I have a loan, this is my business, than giving them some shareholding into that.
If you were to go along those lines and to set up an agreement, should you be going to someone else and saying, I want this, can you write me up something? Or
you can.
from someone that doesn't know, like, I wouldn't know what to put in a contract.
Just go into contract.
About here. But it's instead of done through against your through the residential channel of the lending side, it's done through the business banking area. And basically, it's a nice big credit card. It's what we call a come and go facility, but usually, an overdraft is actually attached to your business account. So if you've got, you know, your ABC Proprietary Limited, that has it might have a $20,000 or $100,000 overdraft attached to it. So when you're in credit, you're using your own money. However, if you write a cheque out and you need to, you've written a cheque out for, $25,000, you would then be in overdraft about $5,000.
Is it good to run your business on an overdraft, or does it just depend on your business?
Oh, if you don't need to run it, don't
Don't
do
do
it.
it.
No, not at all. So the interest rates with a business overdraft are dearer than this sort of facility here. So if you can get this, to me, you're in control. Whereas with the overdraft, you're still in control, but let me tell you that most banks will want to take your house as security anyway for a business overdraft.
And if you're going down that path and you're relying on that a lot more, you know you're in trouble, don't you?
Unless there's something big about to come.
Yeah.
And the other thing
that you've had to, that you've had to outlay because it's coming.
Yes. The other thing too with an overdraft, particularly when I was in business banking, is that we would have a look at the cycle of the overdraft, and what I mean by that is whether it was hardcore debt or not.
Yeah.
So you might have a $100,000 overdraft that constantly sits around $50,000. It might go up to 45 and down to 40. That was what we call hardcore debt, and that's not a good thing. All right, because an overdraft should be cyclical, where you need it and it comes
Whereas
back.
if for 1 minute it's 20 and the next minute it's 50, then
That's healthy business.
Yeah, I get you.
When
Up and down.
it's constantly around that same level, they really don't need an overdraft. They need what I'm going to talk to you about next, which is a term loan.
Does an overdraft, would that affect
I'm going to talk to you about later on. And it's definitely higher interest rates than this here as well. And when I mean by higher interest rates, you're looking anywhere between 0.5% to 1% higher, all right, depending on the bank and depending on the risk. And this is what happens when you go to a business banking manager. They'll start looking at the risk factor and they'll go, all right, this is really risky or it's not that risky. And something that's really risky might be something that's fairly new. Again, there are some lenders. ANZ will do unsecured overdrafts for first year in business. All right, now you need to be trading for at least a year. Not big overdrafts like this, like we've set them up for $20,000, $30,000.
Usually about 20, yeah.
So, but ANZ is a good lender to do that. Westpac, not necessarily.
Sorry, just to go back to that, that's my bank, and they didn't tell me that. So what does that mean? I have to go to them and say, this is my...
Okay, so the business term loan, I think you asked me what that was. Business term loan is like a home loan, but for business purposes, where you actually make a repayment every month. So it might be that you need some stock and you need to spend $50,000, or it might be that you need to do a fit out of a shop front or something like that. You could get a business term loan. And that could be over a 5, 10 or 15 year period, depending again on what the purpose is. And if it was something like a shop front and there was a lease involved, they would generally do the business loan in the same terms as the lease.